Right, guys, good evening and welcome to another video on United Chat TV. I hope everyone's had a fantastic weekend and I've managed to take a little break away and spend a little bit of family time, which has been nice. But now it's back to the daily grind and it's back to keeping all viewers informed of everything that's going on with Manchester United and keeping my own personal views. The live chat's open, so if you want to leave any comments, then go right ahead. But tonight, what I'm going to talk about is my predicted lineup for next season if the rumours do come true and Eric Ten Hag's got the job. All weekend, so since Thursday, rumours have come out. Eric Ten Hag is the favourite for the job. The board believe he's the right one, believe he's the one to take the club forward. Ralph Rangnick has apparently had a massive say in this, and he's the favourite. The reason the board are that apparently impressed by him is because of the job that he's done at Ajax and the fact that he's been able to rebuild the squad after losing a lot of star players, and his ability to bring the youth players through. So within that, I've decided to put a video together of the team that I think he's going to have next season. I've added a couple of players in there, things like 3 or 4 new players. I've given him a transfer budget of £140 million roundabout. So we'll see how that goes. If you disagree with me, of course, just throw a live comment down and I'll get back to you and I'll give you my reasoning. So first of all, we're going to start off with the goalkeeper, and I think for another season it's got to be David De Gea. David De Gea has been one of United's standout players this season. He's kept United in a lot of the games, and he's the reason, on top of Cristiano Ronaldo, why United have won quite a few games this season. So unlucky on Dean Henderson, who I think will leave. I think he'll end up going off to get first team games because at his age now, I think he deserves it. And it's just unfortunate that he's fighting David De Gea for a first team spot at United, because at any other spot or any other football team, I think it'd be the starting goalkeeper. Right, on to right back. Of course, I'm going to go for Diogo Dalot over Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and the reason is Dalot offers a lot more going forward and offers a lot more defending, and he suits Eric Ten Hag's style to a T. He's an overlapping wing back. He loves to get forward. He can take on defenders. He can support the attack, and this is what Eric Ten Hag relies a lot on, with his fullbacks bombing forward and being able to come back as well in defence. So I think what we'll see is, with Dalot being only young as well, I think under Ten Hag, if it is true, I think we'll see him go on to another level and he'll take his game to another level. So yeah, and the next person, of course, our first centre-back has got to be Rafael Varane. I've had to choose Rafael Varane because he's United's best centre-half. Just unfortunate he hasn't had a decent centre-back next to him this season, a consistent centre-back and someone who can perform and someone who's as good as him, because Varane is an all-round top-class centre-back. He has been for a long, long time. At Real Madrid, he had Sergio Ramos, who in his time, well, I wouldn't say it so much now, but in his time was one of the best centre-backs in the world. Next to United, well, at United, he's got Harry Maguire next to him. I'm sorry, but that's a big step down. And that's why I think one of the main reasons is United have to put a real class centre-half next to him, someone who can distribute the ball and someone who can take a lot of the pressure off Varane with defending. So we can take United onto the next level. And Varane, hopefully, will be given the captain's armband, I think, because I think he fully deserves it. He's one of the most experienced players in the team, and I believe he can get the players motivated going forward, because he's a Champions League winner. He's won international trophies with France, and I believe his experience in around the dressing room and in being captain would shine off a lot on the younger lads and a lot on the other players in the dressing room. So Rafael Varane, the first centre-backs. The next one, I know a lot of people are going to ask for a Koulibaly, a Marquinhos, a Jules Koundé from Sevilla, but I've decided, just so I can fit in other players within this transfer budget, I've decided to go for a centre-back from Borussia Dortmund. He's called Manuel Akanji, 26-year-old international Swiss international defender who plays for Dortmund. He's good on the ball. He's got good concentration. He's quick. My only problem with this is he going to adapt to the Premier League? I've added him in there because he's one of the decent options and one of the cost-effective options that's available. And he likes to play. And also he likes to play short passes, which if Erik ten Hag's style next season is to get the defenders to be able to play short passes into the midfielders, and then hopefully the midfielders, when I add it in later on, which you'll see, will be able to free up the attackers and give United a lot more space on the ball. And this all starts with the defence, and it's called a fast build-up play, which is what United need to do a lot more of next season to be able to break down a lot of opposition that come to Old Trafford to just sit back and sit back and sit back, because a lot of United's play this season has been slow. Teams have been able to get back and being able basically just to shut it down and the attack's been over. But having two ball-playing centre-backs is massively important for Erik ten Hag's style moving forward. Right, onto the left-back. And this one might come down as controversial because I know a lot of people will say Alex Telles, but I'm going to go for Luke Shaw. And the one thing a lot of people don't realise, and I've been very critical of Luke Shaw this season, and a lot of people can call me hypocrite, or I've wanted Shaw out, this, that and t'other. I have, but he hasn't been good enough this season. But we've got to remember, 12 months ago, he was scoring a goal in, in the Euro final for England. He had one of his best seasons, and this season he's just gone right downhill. So I'm hoping and I'm backing him to be able to find that form, because on his day, Luke Shaw is a good left back, but that's on his day. He hasn't had too many of them consistent performances, which is what United need and what United fans are looking for consistently. Because if Luke Shaw plays to how he can and how every United fan knows, he's up there with one of the best left backs in England, just in England. But that's on his day, and that's up to him to perform. And if he wants to be part of Erik ten Hag's system and style of football moving forward, then he's got to improve. I know people are going to say, but what about Alex Telles? But the one thing is, does Alex Telles have the pace like Luke Shaw? Like Telles, he can cross, yeah, he can shoot, and he's got a load of other attributes, but I'm going to stick with Shaw. And if no one agrees with us, just throw a comment. Some people probably going to choose Telles, but who knows? Right. Next, I'm going to move on to an area where I think United need to massively improve. And I mean, this is the highlight area of the summer moving forward. And this is a central defensive midfielder. For United to move forward, United need to invest in one. And I did a video a few days ago highlighting a few of the CDMs available, but within this transfer budget, I've decided to act a little bit smart. And he's one player that United have been heavily linked with over the past week or so. And this is a 19-year-old central midfielder from Ajax called Ryan Gravenbach. He's come through the youth academy. Erik ten Hag knows him well. He knows how to concentrate on the ball. He loves to drop deep to make passes. He can play between the lines. And also, he can get back. He's a tackling midfielder, tough tackler, quick across the ground. Loves to shoot as well. And he's got a pass accuracy of 86.9% this season, which is higher than Scott McTominay's. That's what United need. United need a CDM that can pass accurately, going through the midfield, being able to free up spaces for Bruno and Sancho and all the other attacking players going forward. But that's why it starts in the centre of the midfield. And this is why I think at a steal, because I know Ajax would sell for £30 million. He's 19. United can build the team around him. I know he's not Premier League proven, but he's one of them that it's cheap enough. He has a lot of room to develop. He's a Dutch international, and he's not going to break the bank like a Declan Rice or a Calvin Phillips will. So hopefully, if United decide to act smart for once in the transfer window, instead of spending 70, 80 million on players, maybe drop it down and be able to buy 3 or 4 quality players that they can develop, it'd be better. So that's why I put Ryan Gravenberch in there, because out of all the options, I think he's the best one. But feel free to disagree with me. I think, yeah, right. The person I'm going to put next to him is someone who I think can play the Paul Pogba role, because we all know Paul Pogba's got his heart set on a move to Juventus, and he wants to leave, and he's just running down his contract, and all these rumours coming out. He wants to wait and see who the manager is, and this, that, and t'other. He's going to go, and if United don't make Champions League, he will end up going. So I'd say it's going to be Donny van den Beek next to Ryan Gravenberch. The reason Donny van den Beek is because he's played under Ten Hag. Ten Hag knows how to get the best of him. And I think being played in the right situation and being played in the right way, Donny van den Beek can bring a lot to United. He's shown in his games, in his few games that he's played for Manchester United, that he can be a decent option. And he can go on to be that player he was at Ajax, where he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or. So I'm open with him coming in, with him coming back off his loan at Everton, and he's been playing regularly. I know Everton aren't doing too well, but I think Erik ten Hag could take Donny van den Beek back to the level he was at Ajax. Fair enough, Dave. I agree with you. I wouldn't say I agree too much with your comment, but if you watched him when he was at Ajax, he got nominated for the Ballon d'Or. He was part of the Ajax team that reached the Champions League semi-finals, and he was a good player. He was. The only problem is he hasn't been given the chance at United. He hasn't been given a consistent run of games to be able to show the fans what he can do. So I'm open. Fair enough, Chris, but this is the thing. This is what I'm putting my predictions across to see if it ends up coming true. It might not, but I'm just going off what I predicted, what I think might happen. It might not. United might end up playing a different way. Erik ten Hag might go a different way. But having 2 young midfielders that you can grow and that you can develop, I think it'd be the best way moving forward. Right. So, any more? No. Right, so next I'm going to move on to the next midfielder. And this is Bruno Fernandes. Of course, in every United team, you've got to put Bruno Fernandes in there. His record speaks for himself. His goals and assist ratio is just absolutely ridiculous. He hasn't had that much of a good season. I wouldn't say that much of a good season this year. He's been a bit inconsistent, but he's still hitting that 20 goals and assist mark, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I think under Ten Hag, he will flourish. and he'll take his game to a new level. And I think we'll end up seeing the consistent best of Bruno Fernandes, because if you're going to put Donny in that team, it takes the pressure off Bruno to be able to come up with the assists, to be able to get into the space. So Bruno will be able to get that space and be able to pick his passes, but he'll also get space in and around outside the box, in where he loves to shoot, where he can put a through ball through. And I think the attackers will end up thriving off this. No. Right, now onto the right winger. I know a lot of people are going to probably disagree with me for this, but for the right winger, I've decided to go for someone who Erik ten Hag knows really well and is currently working with him at Ajax, and this is Antony. So Antony is a Brazilian right winger. He's 22-year-old. He's been absolutely brilliant for Ajax this season. He scored 12 goals. He's set up 8. He's had 4 man of the matches. His strengths are his key passes. He loves to dribble with the ball. He can cross, but also he can finish as well. And United need, would say, a right winger or even a winger that can cross. And Antony putting the balls in, and I think Ronaldo would end up flourishing off it, or the next name that I'm going to put in to the striker role will end up flourishing off it, and will end up scoring a lot more goals, because at the moment, United can't cross. That's the one thing I've noticed. No, I'm not, Dave. I've literally only added 2 Ajax players. There's one from Borussia Dortmund, and the next one you'll see. Right. So up front, I've gone for not Cristiano Ronaldo. I've gone for someone looking towards the future. This guy's called Darwin Núñez. I've done a little bit of research about him, and I spoke about him on one of the other videos. But Darwin Núñez is a 22-year-old striker who plays for Benfica. He scored over 20 goals this season, and he's been linked with nearly all the top clubs in Europe. And he's been absolutely brilliant. All you've got to do is just give him the chance, and he'll end up scoring. Do I think he's got the potential to go higher than where he's at now? Yep, I do. I think with the right coaching and with the right team behind him, he could be up there with one of the best players in the world, given the chance. And with him only being 22, and with this United team, me trying to look towards the future, and that's why most of them have gone for youth. And this one, it cost about 65 million. So this is the only one that would cost over the 40 million mark. And I know he's a player United have been heavily linked with. But it all depends on if United do end up getting Champions League football, whether he moves to the club, because I know teams like Atletico are interested in him. I think Manchester City are interested in him in an alternative for Erling Haaland if they don't get him. Bayern Munich are, Barcelona are, and there's a whole lot of other teams. So it just all depends if United can get the deal over the line, or if United decide to go elsewhere. But once everyone knows who the manager is properly, once all the rumours have stopped and the official announcements have come out, and then start working on what players he's going to sign, then we'll soon know, right? So the final player in this team is, I've decided to put him on the left instead of the right, even though he is an official right winger. And this is Jadon Sancho. Since Jadon Sancho's come to the Premier League, to start off under Ollie, he was a bit hit and miss, not really doing well, in and out of the team. and then Ollie got sacked, and then Carrick come in for a little bit, and he started performing well under Carrick. And then since Ranieri's come in, he's been brilliant, and he's been one of United's best players. He's got the confidence. He can beat his man. He can dribble, and he can finish. His goal against Manchester City the other week proved it all. And with him still only being young, he's another one that can develop and go on and be a superstar. But that's with the right coaching, and so far he's getting that. And I'm hoping if it is Ten Hag that's come in, and his ability to be able to get the best out of all of his young players and being able to get the best out of the players, he'll take Jadon Sancho to a whole new level. So, wait, let's have a look. No, it's not, Chris. Hiya, Nathan, you're right. And so this is my United team moving forward, and I know it's a Glazers' paradise because it's less than £100 million, well, just over £100 million spent, and the Glazers would love that because they don't like spending money. So they can throw names around like Koundé, Declan Rice, Harry Kane, and every other name. But the problem is with people like these, especially these, Harry Kane, £150 million, it's literally more than a transfer budget, or your transfer budget gone in one deal. Same as Declan Rice. It's going to cost nearly £100 million. When what's the point of spending that much on one player when you can get at least 3 or 4 young players in that you can go ahead and develop and build the team around and take the team onto a new generation, which is what United need. United need to start thinking about the future now and start thinking about the players they can bring in to be able to move forward and also take United into a new generation where we start challenging again. And I think these deals here, these players here, mix it in with a few lads from the academy, and then mix it in with a few experienced heads, if that's the way United go. And then maybe United could be back, but it all depends on the sort of route United decide to go down over the next 6 months. The next 6 months will be key on seeing where United's future's at, whether whether they listen to Eric Ten Hag, because Eric Ten Hag, I know, as a young team at Ajax, whereas United's apparent policy is still buying British and still going after the best British talent around. So does that mean they're going to waste all summer going on Declan Rice, or are they going to complete these 2 simple deals? Because dealing with Ajax will be a lot more easier, especially with Edwin van der Sar in charge. And their negotiation team over there is a lot more easier than dealing with West Ham and David Gold and whatever you call the other lad, David Sullivan. So also it's all about the money involved. We all know Premier League teams put the money up absolutely ridiculous when United come calling. But we all know if United are smart about this, then they can buy a few quality players and then develop them just like Liverpool did. Like Mo Salah, Mane, Firmino, hardly anyone knew anything about them until they joined Liverpool. And then when Liverpool signed them, it was like, oh, not really. They're not the players to move forward. But that was Klopp's philosophy. He built that team to be able to challenge, and he built that team for his style of play. I agree, Chris, but there was the rumours during the part that United are looking at Harry Kane but offering 3 players for him. then what's the point when you're getting a striker who's nearly 30? Yeah, you get rid of some of the clutter, but in a couple of years, you're just going to be left with someone who is on a high wage, someone who'll run down his contract when you can talk about developing the future, but also selling the deadwood on. So then you've got a balance. And the goalkeeper I've picked in the team is David De Gea, because I think moving forward he'd be the best so far. Who's to say over the next 2 3 years he doesn't have a bad start or a bad season and he ends up leaving, or United end up bringing in another goalkeeper. It depends, Chris, though, because as I said with Harry Kane, it's dealing with Daniel Levy, and as Fergie once said, dealing with Daniel Levy is ridiculous. We all know what he's like. He's one of the hardest people to deal with in the footballing world. He's up there with Florentino Perez. So that's why I've gone for something in this list where United aren't dealing with people who are hard to deal with and finally spending money on talent and smart money rather than spending a ridiculous amount of money on one or two players. Right, guys, has anyone got any more questions? Thanks to everyone that's been watching tonight. When do I think United will challenge for the league again? I'd give it another, say, 2 to 3 year at least. I'd say this summer is all about getting rid of the deadwood, bringing in the players that fit Eric Ten Hag's style of play. If it is him, that's the manager, and then we'll see how it is moving forward. But I do think we're at least another 2 to 3 years away from challenging City and Liverpool, which I hate to see, but the truth's the truth. Nice question, Chris. I do. I've always said this from day one. The Glazers are the main trouble around United, and that's why the fans protest. But the main thing is the Glazers need to sell the club, but they won't. As long as United are still making their money, they're not bothered. The structure's rotten from all it comes. Look at Manchester City, look at Liverpool. Their structure, which feeds right down to the playing staff. United, they've got the wrong people in the wrong positions. Look at Matt Judge. He knows nothing about football and he's head of negotiations. How do you have someone who knows nothing about football and his background's a lawyer? How do you put that in football? And just no. Whereas you look at Manchester City, you look at their negotiation teams, you look at their directors and the structure coming down, which I bloody hate this because they've overtaken us. They've got the right people in the right positions, and that's what United need. No, Spence, the only thing Greenwood belongs into is prison. Unless it comes back, he wasn't guilty, but all the signs point to he's guilty. Has anyone got any more questions? Tell you the one thing why I'm waiting. I'll tell you the one thing I'm really worried about. with this Newcastle takeover, and with the amount of money that they have got to spend and will be able to spend, it is frightening. Give it a couple of years, how close they will be to challenging for the Premier League title. Subs. So I'm going to go for, with the subs, I'm going to include a couple of youth players in here because I think that Erik ten Hag will use a couple, and with a lot of the Deadwood hopefully being sold. So the goalkeeper is, don't know if anyone knows him, but it's Sam Johnston, who's leaving West Brom in the summer, available on a free transfer, and he's one that United have been linked with as a backup goalkeeper, someone just for now until a youth academy goalkeeper might develop, but who knows. Charlie Savage, Robbie Savage's son. Charlie McNeil, ripping it up in the academy. Absolutely ridiculous, some of the stuff he can do with the ball. Alejandro Garnacho, another Argentine youngster, plays in the academy. Absolutely brilliant. And he deserves a starting lineup, or a starting place one day, but he's another one that's for the future. Who else am I going to pick? I would say I'd add Marcus Rashford in there as well, but it all depends on which Marcus Rashford turns up. The one that we all know how he can play, the one that ripped City apart at the Etihad that one game, the one that made Virgil van Dijk look like a hot dog when he turned him at Old Trafford. This is the thing. It all depends which Marcus Rashford turns up, to whether he ends up on the subs bench or he ends up playing his football in Germany, or he ends up fighting for a starting place with Anthony or Sancho. And a few other, if James Garner is one of the main ones. If anyone's seen him tonight for Nottingham Forest against Liverpool, he was brilliant. James Garner's managed this season to hold his own against Arsenal's midfield and Liverpool's midfield. So he's one that just shows that, given the time and given the development at the right club, he'll be another one for the future moving forward. Rashford and 20 million for Chris Wood. No. Chris Wood can stop at Newcastle, to be fair. I've seen better strikers. There's one in the Irish League called Patrick Ferry, who's better than him. And he sounds like a boat. Like a hot dog belter. Well, it's right though. No, Virgil van Dijk, he's a good centre-back. He is. The one embarrassment I'd say about United, this is one of the most embarrassing things. A couple of years ago, United had the chance to sign Virgil van Dijk for 75 million. They said no, it was too much. Same as Koulibaly, 75 million. No, it was too much. They went and signed Harry Maguire for 80 million. And when I found out that, I couldn't believe it, because Virgil van Dijk has gone on to achieve whatever he's done at Liverpool. Yeah, I don't care. And Koulibaly, who was one that I was hoping and praying that United signed, because him in the United defence, you'd run at him, and he put you on your ass simple. He was that good. He's good in the air, and he'd make United's defence. Him a couple of years ago next to Varane, that's a Champions League winning centre back pairing. Not Harry Maguire, who's as slow as an £80 fridge from Curry's, or Eric Bailly, as I said, who's got a worse injury record than Daniel Sturridge. And it just proves the big mistakes United have made over the past couple of years when the players they could have got and they haven't. And you look at the mistakes. No, I wouldn't sign Kruger or Jeffrey Kondogbia from Atletico. Then again, if you play for Atletico, you taught that all you've got to do is fall to the ground when the wind touches you. Harrods, mate, Harrods. um, there was a thing the other day that Gary Neville said United should go all out for Diego Simeone, but would I would would I have Simeone at United? No, no, I don't like him. He's a proven winner, but he's one of them that if he'd come into this club, yeah, he'd install a winning culture, but as I said, it's parked the bus football, and I had enough of that under Jose Mourinho. I had enough. I had enough of literally watching stagecoach buses when they went 1-0 up, park in front of goal. Here we go, and then just sit there and watch teams take shots for 90 minutes. No, no, no chance. I want someone, as I said, who can bring United back into the 21st century, attacking football. Someone who can manage and go at Klopp and Guardiola, because it's what United need. And that's why I think, and hopefully, even though the players want Poch, but the board wants Ten Hag, hopefully this time the board might use their football and sense and go all out for Ten Hag, and then hopefully we can enjoy seeing United back. Right, guys, that's enough. I'm off, and I'll be back tomorrow night, and I think we'll talk a little bit more in depth about future signings, what's going on, all things United, this new thing about this new 80,000 capacity stadium United are apparently looking into. And yeah, have a good night. Thank you for watching.